The Chicago Bears select safety Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State with the 48th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears draft reaction video. If you guys want to see my reaction to all the picks the Bears make, be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll be coming out with videos breaking down all the picks the Bears made in this year's class. At the time I'm recording this video, the Bears have traded down multiple times on day 3. So there's going to be a lot of videos coming out because we're making a lot of picks. Okay, before we only had 5 draft picks entering this year. Ryan Poles has turned those 5 draft picks into 11 as of the time I'm recording this. Maybe we trade back again, who knows. Okay, Poles has been wanting to trade back to add more depth to this team, so it might take me a while to come out with all these videos. They probably won't all be out tonight because I have to sleep at some point, right? So I'll try to get as many done as I possibly can tonight. Rest will be out tomorrow, maybe couple on Monday. I'll try to do the best I can, but in this video I'll be breaking down the draft pick of Jaquan Brisker, safety, in the 2nd round yesterday. And if you guys saw my live stream, initially I was kind of disappointed with this pick just because I wanted offense. Okay, nothing against Jaquan Brisker, he is actually a really good football player, and I think this actually is a pretty good pick, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But initially I was disappointed. A lot of Bears fans were disappointed because we wanted offense to help out Justin Fields. Okay, it would have been nice to get a top-level receiver, you know, maybe a more top-level offensive lineman, although we've picked a lot of offensive linemen on day 3, as you guys will see in the coming videos. But time will tell, okay, if this was the right pick. But I'm not going to hate on the player because this is a very good football player that the Chicago Bears are getting at pick number 48. One of the best safeties, if not, I probably wouldn't say the best safety, right? Because Kyle Hamilton is up there as, you know, one of the better safeties to come out in the last few years. But a lot of people have Brisker going in the 1st round, so you can't hate on this value pick, guys. I mean, he was clearly the best player available on the board for the Bears, and for a team that needs so much talent, you know, all across the board, like we have holes all over this team, selecting best player available probably, you know, it is the right way to approach it. Okay, I know a lot of us would have liked offense to help out Justin Fields, but sometimes you have to go with the best player on your board, and this could turn into a stud for the Chicago Bears because he fits, you know, the mold that Eberflus wants in this team to a T. I mean, he fits it perfectly. He's exactly what the Bears need on the back end of their defense if they want to go up against some of the better offenses and have a chance to compete. Okay, our secondary could actually be a very strong unit as soon as next season. Okay, if these rookies can ball out in their rookie year, which I think they have the chance to do so because they balled out in college. So talking about Jaquan Brisker, I'll talk about his measurables first of all. So Brisker is 6'1", 201 pounds. He's 23 years old, so somewhat on the older side, but not too old or anything, right? He has good size, good length. If you look at his RAS, he's one of the most athletic prospects in this year's class at the defensive back spot, which fits a theme of, you know, Poles and Eberflus wanting athletes on their defense and on their football team. So if you look at his RAS, you know, 9.11 all across the board, measured great at the combine. And that's one of his best traits from college, his speed and his athleticism. He was able to match up against some of the speed tight ends that he had to go up against, or some of the receivers that he had to cover, or running backs. So he was playing all over that Penn State defense, especially last year, right? So he had to cover a bunch of different positions, bunch of fast players, and he was able to keep up with them, even going down the field in coverage. So his speed, his athleticism is definitely going to be very, very helpful for the Chicago Bears. And if you look at what his other traits are, you know, according to the film that I've seen so far, according to what even the scouting reports have said online, probably one of his biggest things is that he's a great tackler and a guy that can lay the wood. If you look at any of his highlights, man, this guy can hit you hard, and he strikes fear in the heart of a lot of the opposing players that he went up against. And, you know, ever since Adrian Amos left, guys, ever since he left the Chicago Bears, we have never had a true long-term option at safety next to Eddie Jackson, because we haven't had a guy that really complements Eddie Jackson's skill sets the best. A guy that can play in the box, a guy that can occasionally cover as well, a guy that can be strong in run support, can erase some tight ends. We haven't had a true strong safety like that since Amos left. And, you know, a lot of people's comparisons for Jaquan Brisker is actually a more athletic Adrian Amos. So that really does excite me, guys. I mean, Eddie Jackson's performance over the past couple of years has been, you know, pretty disappointing related to like what we're paying him, right? Like, he has not been one of the better safeties, one of the top 5 safeties in the NFL over the past couple of years. Hopefully a true running mate in Jaquan Brisker is going to return us to 2018 levels, in terms of the safety duo that we had back then. Okay, obviously that was one of the best safety duos we have ever had that season, so that's a high bar to achieve. But Brisker is really, really talented. He has the all the skill sets, the potential to live up to that Adrian Amos comparison, and maybe even be something on top of that, guys, because he is more athletic than Amos and probably more versatile as well. According to PFF, he took 668 snaps lined up deep, 690 snaps in the box, and 332 snaps in the slot. So played all over that Penn State defense, like I mentioned, because of his speed, because of his athleticism, and his ability to cover, guys. He is actually really good in zone coverage. He can play all over the football field and could be a Swiss Army knife for Matt Eberflus to use in this defense. Okay, especially if you have any injuries, Jaquan Brisker could slide over and play a bunch of different positions on this defense because of his versatility that he's bringing over from college football. So very fast, very aggressive, very athletic, very instinctive as well, guys. He had a knack for making plays, being in the position to make plays on that Penn State defense. I'll read you guys his stats from the last 3 years at Penn State. So 2019, he had 31 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, 4 passes defended. 2020, he had 57 total tackles, 1 interception, 5 passes defended. That was a shortened season due to COVID. And then last year, for Penn State, he had 63 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 5 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions as well, and overall just made a bunch of plays for that Penn State defense, breaking up passes, forcing incompletions, getting tackles for loss, getting huge tackles at the line of scrimmage. So overall, he's a baller, guys. I mean, he's a playmaker at the safety position, one that we have not had in Chicago on the opposite side of Eddie Jackson. If you guys also saw his video, on the video that the Bears posted of his call with Eberflus, I mean, he said that he was the steal of the draft. He promised that he would be the steal of the draft. I absolutely love to see that, guys. He has so much confidence in himself. He thinks that he's been doubted by the entire NFL, for letting him slip to the second round. And we're getting a motivated, hungry player that's going to be balling out on the back end of the Chicago Bears defense. So overall, guys, even though safety probably wasn't the biggest position of need heading into this draft, and people will question taking 2 defensive players pretty early in a draft where we did need offensive talent for Justin Fields, I just can't hate on the player because he's a really good football player that's going to improve our secondary by a lot next year and in the years to come, guys. I mean, this is the true first, long-term safety option that we have on the opposite side of Eddie Jackson since Adrian Amos. Okay, otherwise it's been a rotating, mess for the most part. We haven't gotten great safety play from Eddie Jackson or from anybody else that's played strong safety here in Chicago. So really good football player. I'm sure Eberflus cannot wait to use him in this defense. I mean, a defensive coach like Eberflus is going to be salivating at the thought of getting some really talented players in a secondary. And Eberflus's defense needs talented players in the secondary. Now we have a lot of them. So let me know what you guys think about this pick in the comments down below. But as always, bear down.